Is allowed in this gym when they're going.
He's the reason why it all went down, and that's why we made that. That's why I made that post. It's so that parents, it's all about trusting the process, and and just allowing the kids to be, because you can't go to school with them, and you can't yell at the teacher or yell at your kid in the middle of a classroom and say, "Hey, do what I say," or do this or that, or you can't give them the answers, And that's one of the reasons why we kind of like to have parents kind of be quiet or just leave the practice so that the kids can get more out of practice. So that was the purpose of the post. And, it's like trusting the process. But we're excited, right? We got our first guest here. Dylan, he's been part of the Mars Fitness Family Program for how many years now?
Like 10 years.
All his life.
Yeah.
How many state titles you got, Dylan?
6 here.
Six
as a kid, as a youth.
6 as a youth.
2 as a high schooler.
2 as a high schooler, and what else? 1 national championship?
1 national championship.
Yes, and so anyway, Dylan, tell us a little bit about what it was like wrestling as a youth. How does it benefit your high school career, and then how you are Georgia's next big thing to slice bread, right?
Right, that's right. You want me to tell them how we met?
Yes.
All right, so we were in Kingsport, and I think I was wrestling for Team Minion,
right?
Team Georgia, 1
yeah,
and 2.
Team Minion, right? That's right.
Coach Charlie had his team, we had our team, and I personally was just I was getting whipped, and some Iowa guy threw me. Spiked me on my head. It was bad. It was a bad time, and I was on my back, and I was for first and only time in my life, I looked at my dad and I told him, "Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to quit." And Coach Charlie comes in the room, and we were in like a dark corner area. And Coach Charlie comes in, and looks at my dad, is like, "Yo, let me talk to your boy." And he's like, "Go for it. If you can get him to keep going, and get him to keep going." And Coach Charlie literally comes over and picks me up off of the ground and says, "You're gonna wrestle the rest of this tournament." And I was just like, "Okay, yes sir." He looks at my dad and was like, "When you come back home, he's gonna come train with me, and I'm gonna make your boy a champion." And that's exactly what he did. We came here, and that's all she wrote.
That is
that
true.
is what happened. 6-time state champion, back to back, and there was just nothing like it. Nothing like wrestling for Coach Charlie.
It's funny. Like, our model is making champions on and off the mat, and that particular time he's talking about was my first time at Kingsport. I was also part of that Dominion team and coaching, and I think you were 8 years old.
Mm-hmm. I was 7 years old.
He was 7 wrestling 125. So
that's like a grown man.
He was right. So he's wrestling 6th graders, and it was like, oh my God. But he was broken, and literally I picked him up and was like, "You're gonna finish this tournament." And after that, like you said, it's all she wrote. We had one of the best middle school programs. Remember when we won that?
Man, that was wild. That was probably the best duels team, no cap, best duels team of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time. Gotta be best.
Gavin Kane,
Ethan
Rickard.
So many state champs, national champs.
It was amazing.
Soon to be D1 All-Americans.
Yeah, right. That's right. But this is Savage Talk, right? And so one of the things we talk about is discipline, keeping the parents at bay. It's hard to run a practice if you have parents inside trying to tell their kids how to win, and just staying focused. And one of the things with Big Dylan is, we got him to stay focused, and we had a great time, and my touch in his life just didn't end here. It went to the high school. We had our one-on-one still, where it was like, "Yo, keep your mind straight, get it together, because you know what, you're gonna be great." And then when you came to practice, I wasn't gonna wrestle with him. I had to put Coach Khalil on him, to keep him humble, and it was great. But this is great. It's great for the state of Georgia that even though he's not gonna wrestle in college, he's going to play football at one of the pristine programs. And so, what's it like? What is it going to be like going to Georgia?
It's an honor, to be able to just go out there with that type of caliber guys, you know, and to be coached by those kind of coaches is just, you know, I've worked really hard. You know, we put in a lot of time to be able to do this, and you know, wrestling's not just for wrestling. You wrestle for other sports. You wrestle for it's not just a sport. It's a teacher. You know, so when you're wrestling, you're not just doing a sport. It's more than that. You know, so you bring on things from wrestling into other parts of your life, and that's partly what I've done. You know, at this stage in the game, and it's an honor to be able to just go out there and start competing with these guys in the next few weeks.
So will your wrestling help you in college, you think?
Definitely. It definitely will. I think it'll help me more mentally than anything, especially, you know, coming here wrestling. You know, growing up here as a kid, like this is my home. You know,
Right, of course, right.
You know, so like when you're raised and grew up in a place like this, it mentally makes you different. You know, you can endure all the things that most people can't endure. You know, you can keep going whenever you're tired. Like I'm used to not getting water breaks in 90-degree heat. You know, when the walls are sweating, you know, you got a little thin layer of water on the ground because everybody's so hot and sweaty. You know, I mean, you just kind of, and then you do it for so long, you just kind of get used to it. You know, it's just what you do. You know, it's just who you are. So I think I'm definitely gonna carry that on to my next adventure.
That's great. Coach, what was it like, you know, working with like a little dude like this?
Oh man, he was a little man child. Even when he was 13 years old. He was 13 years old in here, 220 pounds. How tall are you? He was like at least 6'3".
Yeah,
You,
6'2",
like, I was
6'3".
looking at you. You're like 13 years old, and I'm having to wrestle with you. I'm like, oh man. Like, he's trying to deal with this man every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an interesting year, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was.
Eighth grade season.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember, I mean, you really took me from like an unathletic, just big guy to a little bit more athletic.
Man, yeah, you had to wrestle with the
Right,
little dudes.
right.
Yeah, and it makes me like
That's
I've
right.
been told my whole life, you know, you wrestle like a lightweight, and I think that definitely has something to do with you. Because I mean, you know, I remember we would go live at the end of every practice, and you're doing super duck, like doing just crazy stuff. I'm like, man, I can't even just keep wrestling, just keep wrestling. That's all I could do.
Yeah, man, it was a fun time.
Yep. So, what's one of your favorite moves?
Cradles.
Snap down
cradle.
Snap down
You
cradle.
gotta believe it. Gotta believe it.
Here it is.
That's it.
You gotta
know?
believe in that.
That is the move. That's the only move. That don't work. Then you gotta find something else to do. Cause
See, we put it in its foundation, you know, and again, it's about trusting the process. It's about putting a system in play. You know, everyone has what they have, but as long as we put our system in play, we're gonna win, and that's what we believe. That's the bottom line, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You know, we have fun in the off season, which is great, but you know, Coach and I, we work real hard at putting this together for the kids and just getting them to focus, to believe, to go out there and win. And one of the things he helped his team do was just, you know, he helped lead his team to a great finish this year in high school. I mean, the highest for the high school. You guys had a bunch of kids place at state. You know, you took second in area, second in traditional. But it's great that you're going to go continue to wrestle. My dream, my slip, to play football at Georgia, you know, and still know where your roots come from, that wrestling has played a big part of that. And, you know, we believe every kid should wrestle,
We sure
you know,
do.
and it serves different purposes. I've told you
Everybody can wrestle.
Right, I've told you my story. Like, I didn't start wrestling to 10th grade. Coach, what grade did you start wrestling?
10th grade.
10th grade. So, you know, it's great to be able to pour into these kids at a young age, but we'll take the 10th grader, the freshman, the 6-year-old, doesn't matter, you know. If they can walk and they can, listen, and as long as they're potty trained, they got to be potty trained. We ain't doing diapers. But, you know, this is what we love to do, and to be able to bring on a young man like this who's going to do big things, you know, it was like, hey, I need you to be here. He was like, all right, I'm there. And that's one of the things we're going to start doing in our talks, is bringing on more kids that we've had a chance to impact. And you're going to get to hear some more stories. And just, you know, we're bringing some parents. We're going to bring in a whole bunch of other people, you know, because it's it's important to us to get this message out about wrestling, and especially down here in the South. Coach, what do you got?
Actually, last question, man. What are your goals moving forward, man? We're gonna get some Super Bowl rings.
Yeah,
What's the goal? How far are we taking this?
We're gonna try to go to the NFL. You know, that's
That's what I wanted to hear.
We don't try.
Right.
We do.
We just do.
We do.
Yep,
We do.
We do, and we're gonna go and go steady grind. Like I told you earlier, we're just gonna go steady grind, and that's my plan. Just keep my head down, steady grind, and do what I did for 6-7 years here. Just grind, suffer.
Besides the sports,
Grind and suffer.
we're going to Georgia. What is the educational path? Like, what are we going to get? Like, what are we going to study?
I'm gonna do business right now because that's
Okay.
really the only thing. I want to do something where I can communicate and really start to talk to people and get to verbalize what I'm trying to do.
Gotcha,
I'm good.
man.
I'm good. I feel like I'm good with talking to people and trying to maybe not exactly sell something or just represent something. Like maybe represent a brand, represent a corporation. So
The MF brand.
the MF. I'll represent the MF brand. Yeah.
But
we are the MF brand.
we are. That's
MF
right.
Army.
That's it. The MF Army. It's great. Like I said, when we have young men coming out of our room, going to do big things. But he's grounded, and that's the one thing, right? We talk about losing with grace, winning with grace. We didn't win.
Yeah.
We didn't win every battle, but we won the war, and this is where we're at right now. We all have our different issues, family. There's all kind of things that roadblocks come up, but wrestling teaches us to get through it, and we believe we have the best program on the planet.
Sure do.
And this is a product of our program, and we want to share that with the world. Just tell his story, tell my story, tell Coach Khalil's story, and just keep changing lives, because that's what it's about. Other than that, a couple of things coming up. We got the Sammy Sasso camp.
That's right.
We're gonna have
That's right.
David Carr come down and
Get registered.
get registered for that. And we're gonna be doing a couple of things. We have Charlie's Angels doing big things. I mean, this is what we do, right? We're here to make wrestling great. And that's about it. Thank you for another episode.
That's all we got for y'all today. Yo, big shout out to
Army.
Stacked Athletics for this t-shirt.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yo, first sponsor, baby.
Thank you. All right, guys. Perfect.
And tell them.